Hi folks, Steven here, and welcome into TK Power Sports. Yamaha is bringing back a legendary name from its Waverunner lineup. Meet the 2027 Yamaha WaveBlaster. And right now, I'm going to tell you all about it. The original Yamaha WaveBlaster was introduced in 1993, and it was all about being small, lightweight, and nimble, but it was also a sit-down model, which for the early 90s was different because most PWCs were stand-ups. Now fast forward to 2027, and the new WaveBlaster is really using the same recipe as the old one. It's small, it's lightweight, it's nimble, but it's also a sit-down model. Now, it's only a one-seater. It's only meant for one rider, but that's the whole idea here. Get out on the water with one person and ride aggressively. So now let me tell you the details. You can think about this new WaveBlaster as basically a sit-down version of the Yamaha Superjet. Yes, Yamaha still sells a stand-up PWC. It's called the Superjet. You can actually see it here with the WaveBlaster out on the water. And Yamaha basically took that Superjet and stuck a seat onto it. Well, it's a little bit bigger, but we'll get into that too. The thing you need to know about the power though is the engine is the same. The new WaveBlaster uses the TR1 3-cylinder marine engine. It makes 110 horsepower. It is 1,049 cc's. This is an open looped cooling engine, so it uses water from the actual body of water you're on to cool itself. It also has a 144 millimeter high pressure pump and a 3-blade stainless steel impeller. Now let's talk size, because yes, the WaveBlaster is a little bit bigger than the Superjet. The new WaveBlaster has a length at 99.6 inches, overall width at 38 inches, a height at 30.4 inches, and a dry weight at 425 pounds, which is pretty dang light. Now, let me go over to the Superjet and read those numbers so you can see how the sizes compare. The Superjet comes in at 95.7 inches long, so the WaveBlaster is about 4 inches longer. The width on the Superjet is just 30 inches, the width on the WaveBlaster at 38 inches. The height on the Superjet is 31.5 inches, which is actually interesting. That makes the WaveBlaster a little bit shorter than the Superjet. And then the overall weight on the stand-up Superjet is 375 pounds, where WaveBlaster is 425. So it's a little bit heavier and a little bit bigger, but still overall, compared to most modern PWCs, this thing is quite small and quite light. The fuel capacity is the same on WaveBlaster and Superjet 2. This thing can hold 5 US gallons, which is 19 liters. Just talking styling, I think Yamaha nailed the retro look here. The colorway for 2027 is called Midnight Blue Black, but then it has those splashes of color all over it. Why don't you guys just drop in the comments and let me know what you think about the looks, and most importantly, how does it compare to this, the original 93 WaveBlaster? Now, there are some more details that Yamaha has shared which should really tell us how this thing will handle. And again, it will feel a lot like the Superjet. Now, the key with the Superjet or any stand-up PWC is you need to really lean down into the corners. And once you get really aggressive and really good at riding that thing, you can almost have yourself right down in the water pulling those tight corners. And that was the thinking behind the handling here on the WaveBlaster. So one of the decisions Yamaha made is there's no sponsons on this model. Now, a sponson is tacked onto the outside of the hull, and basically in a turn, once you're up like this, that sponson is going to dig into the water and help you corner. Well, when you don't have sponsons, that allows you to lean even further over into that corner, but it also requires more from the rider. It means you have to commit to leaning into that corner so it sticks in the water. So it should make for a more aggressive riding experience and a more rider-focused riding experience. Now, a few other things they did. The WaveBlaster has the same intake grate as the Superjet, but it does get a unique ride plate, says Yamaha, to help it, again, contact and hook up with the water. Now, another choice here is that Yamaha has put molded in foot chocks to really allow you to hold your body in place. And then just looking at the seat, that's a really small, narrow seat, which should also help a rider move around this machine. So this is very much going to be a rider-centric machine. Looking at the handlebars, Yamaha says that there are 3 different positions here. That's always crucial for being able to stand up or sit down and then adjust the bars to where you are. And then also there is an L mode here on the WaveBlaster. Now this is also available on the Superjet. It's a learner mode. It basically is going to cap your overall power so that you can sort of get used to the dynamics of the machine. Now this is more important on the Superjet because when you're first learning a stand-up PWC, it can be kind of tricky, and getting access to full power can be a little bit more overwhelming. It's maybe not quite as necessary here on the WaveBlaster because you can sit down, but still it sounds like because of what a thrilling machine this is going to be, somebody for their very first time might want to just go out in L mode, take it a little easier, and get used to the dynamics before you unlock that full 110 horsepower. What's also interesting about the new WaveBlaster is Yamaha is not calling it a Rec Lite model. That's where the Jet Blaster and the Sea-Doo Spark live. Now Yamaha is calling it part of its new Sport series, which includes the WaveBlaster and the Superjet. Now, I don't want to compare this thing to other stand-ups, so let's compare it to the new Sea-Doo Spark X Trix, just so we understand the size differences. So looking at the Spark X Trix, the 1-up model, that thing is actually 11.4 inches longer than the WaveBlaster. It is 8 inches wider than the WaveBlaster, and it is 10 inches taller than the WaveBlaster. So yes, this is even significantly smaller than something like the Sea-Doo Spark, which is already a small PWC. And I think one of the most significant numbers there is the width difference. This thing is so skinny, and that's going to help it really lean into those corners like Yamaha is saying it will. There's one more big question we have to answer. What's it going to cost? Well, in the United States, the Yamaha WaveBlaster is $11,999, and that is the exact same as the Superjet, so you're not paying more for one over the other. And then here in Canada, the WaveBlaster costs $17,649, which is also the exact same as the Superjet. Now, that feels like an extremely affordable price for what's going to be one of the most exciting machines on the water, but keep in mind that this thing is singularly focused on fun riding. It doesn't care about storage. There's no fancy screen. In fact, there's not even really a gauge. There's just a couple of warning lights up on the dash, and that is it. So don't expect any creature comforts here whatsoever. This thing is specifically designed for a thrilling day on the water. And with that, folks, we're coming to the end of this video. It is exciting that Yamaha is bringing the WaveBlaster back, and I think it's exciting that it's not just a straight-up Rec Lite entry. This promises to deliver something different than the Jet Blaster and the Sea-Doo Spark do. And for many years now, the PWC industry has been really innovating on the bigger, heavier units. I mean, even Yamaha with the Crosswave, I mean, that is the polar opposite of the WaveBlaster. So while everything kept getting bigger and heavier and wider and more stable, the real enthusiasts started to complain that we were missing out on the bottom of the market, the affordable, cheap, lightweight, nimble machines. Well, now all of a sudden, it feels like we have more entrants in that category than ever as well. So if you're really into PWCs, yeah, you have your choice now, up to the huge Crosswave right down to this quite small WaveBlaster. So now I need to hear what you guys think. Why don't you drop into the comments, let me know your thoughts on the 2027 Yamaha WaveBlaster. As always, while you're down below leaving me that comment, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of the channel, and then come right back here to TK Power Sports and see what we're testing next.